Okay, so a quick video for geometry today. I'm gone, and you have a worksheet to do. It looks like this. And the first one is some practice problems you probably already know how to do. But let's go through a few together to make sure you remember. First off, make sure your mode on your calculator is in degrees. Mode, down to, over 1, enter, second, quit. Well, I'm in degrees. So all my answers now will be entered correctly. So here's your goal for today. Goal, do at least first page, then when you feel ready, complete Schoology quiz. And you should be able to do that because I'm going to help you do this part, first page, then your job is to do the Schoology quiz. Okay. Calculate the value of x to the nearest degree. Nearest degree. A lot of you are still having trouble with that. Well, I'm trying to find an angle. X is an angle. So I need to use sine inverse to get rid of this sine. So do sine inverse to both sides. And what you'll have left is these cancel, and you have x is equal to sine inverse of 0.78801. Let's go to our calculator. 78801. Second sine 0.78801. Make sure you don't put, make sure you are not putting, I can't really click on here with my cursor, but make sure you're not putting 78801. It's 0.78801. Enter. 51.99, so that means our degree is, round up, 52 degrees. There you go. Remember, when you're trying to find an angle, use the inverse trig. Calculate the value of y to the nearest tenth. Well, if you look, these look very similar, these problems. So you can do this one. Calculate the value of z to the nearest hundredth. You can do this one. Determine the measure of angle x. Angle x tells me I'm going to be using inverse sine, inverse trig. And let's see, determine the measure of angle x to the nearest tenth. So if you have 0.12345, the nearest tenth is this one. You're going to be rounding to this one. So in this case, I would say 0.1. Alright, so here's rounding to the nearest tenth. So let's try this. Angle x. First step, label from where you're referencing. Label. That is opposite. Adjacent. Across from right angle is hypotenuse. So if I wanted to find out what I'm going to use, I say opposite hypotenuse, and I go back and I try and say which one to use, which inverse trig. Well, opposite hypotenuse, use sine inverse. So if I want to find out what x is, this is step 3, the key. X is equal to sine inverse, opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite is 9. Hypotenuse is 25. Put this in your calculator. second sine inverse. It was 9 divided by 25, in the parentheses, enter 21.1. Make sure you put the degrees. Angle y to the nearest hundredth, you can do this one. I see I have adjacent and hypotenuse, so I'm not going to use sine, I'm going to use something else. You do that one. Determine a measure of angle z to the nearest degree. You can do that one. Opposite, adjacent, you do. Alright, and look, we're already done with the first page. If you do that, you should still go further to get some extra practice. For example, I'll do a couple more with you on this second page before the challenge problems. This is important in math to be able to do, called error analysis. Look for where is the error. That's what we're trying to do. That's our goal for these kind of problems. Josh was asked to determine the measure of angle x to the nearest hundredth. Teacher marked it incorrect. Work is shown below. Find his error and then correct it. So let's look. This was their first step. Let's see, did the setup. Let's see if the setup was right. He said sine. Well, let's see, opposite, hypotenuse. So that means he did use sine. Opposite is 100. Hypotenuse is 172. So that's good. Does any, let's see, they said rewrite because to find the angle x, you need to use sine inverse. So he used sine inverse. So that one's good. And now decimal approximation. Let's see if that's where the mistake was. 0.58140. So is this number equal to 100 divided by 172? Let's check. .58139. 0.58139. It's about 0.58140, so that's fine. If you raise it to the -1 power, use a reciprocal. I haven't heard anything like that in our class so far. This is where the error is. This is the error. X is not equal to this. X is equal to what he had above, so X is equal to sine inverse 0.58140, which is about 35.55. And they said round to the nearest hundredth. Nearest hundredth, so that's 35.549. So round to the nearest hundredth, 35.55 degrees. That should be his answer. He was wrong, we're right, it's 35.55 degrees. Okay, you can try this one, and you should probably try some challenge problems. A good practice. If you can do these, you'd be in much better shape, for example, next year when you do Algebra 2, or when you do maybe Algebra 2 Accelerated, or maybe if you do the MCA, or if you do the MCA again, you'd be in much better shape if you try some of these challenge problems. So I suggest you try it. And alright, then good luck. Your next step is to do the Schoology quiz and make sure that's done because it's only open for today. So again, your goal for today, do at least the first page, then complete Schoology quiz. Alright, see you tomorrow.